Welcome to Season 2 of The Biz Show. We're excited to bring you more business insights and stories. The Biz Show is sponsored by InvestQuire. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Good morning, Barry. How are you today?
Hey, Lisa, welcome to season 2.
I know it's so exciting to be back, and I am coming back with great news.
Tell everybody, what is the news?
I am now officially a grandma for the first time in my family. I'm so thrilled and excited to share this news. We have a
Well,
beautiful baby boy.
I must say, you don't look like a grandma whatsoever at all.
Well, that's a good thing. I'll give a new face to the grandma word, right?
Oh, there you go. That works.
Yeah, his name is Coast, and he's a healthy little boy, 6 pounds, 14 ounces. Nicole and Kurt did an amazing job making this little miracle. I can't wait to share it with everybody.
I'm not even going there. So how was your break? We took a
It was
couple
great.
weeks
It's
off.
been busy. Took a trip to Hawaii, been closing some transactions. I've been training my son in real estate, had a baby. What else can I add to that list?
It sounds like a fun time off.
Yeah, we've been
Well,
putting more listings online for some businesses. We have a healthcare company. We have a daycare. We have a hair salon. So those of you
yeah,
out there looking to invest in a company, please give us a ring.
yes, definitely. And actually, I have a couple new investors that reached out that are interested in investing in some businesses. So I
Oh my gosh.
need to vet them, but things look pretty damn good.
Yeah, let's get to it. This fourth quarter of the year that we're entering is going to be amazing.
Coming up,
Um,
right?
Hopefully everybody
Q1,
is feeling the same way in their businesses.
hopefully. Well, let's get started, huh? Episode 1 of season 2. This is going to be about starting a new business, right? The startup.
Starting from scratch, right? You come up with an
From
idea and then you're like, what do I do next? How do I
Yes.
get this going?
So for the next few podcasts, we're going to talk about starting a new businesses, things that you need to know, things you need to do in order to get started on the right foot, right?
Right. Some of us like to sketch it out or plan it out in detail. And some of us are just sort of like a dominant driver and we just go for it and we figure things out later. Whatever your style is, we just want you to be successful. So hopefully you'll get a couple tips from our podcast today.
Hopefully. And you're right, Lisa, there are many different types of people and different ways that they go about business. There's no one right way and there's no a wrong way, right? It's basically
Exactly.
whatever works for you.
Right.
However, there are certain steps that you need to do and follow, right? In order to get your business off the ground. And,
Right.
and, and we're going to talk and we're going to go down a list and we're going to talk about, the things that you need to do first off, so on and so forth. Let's start with the first one, right? First thing you need to do, you think about starting a business. What is that business? You know,
You
what,
know,
how do
what
you
inspires
generate
you?
the idea, right?
I always said to my coaching clients that if you're truly passionate about something, then you're going to be successful. So you have to really love what you do. And then you could pretty much, the sky's the limit. Go with it, accomplish your goals, make some
It,
step-by-step plans, a business plan,
it
and then
is.
don't get overwhelmed by the process because it's just have fun with it. If you have fun with what you do, you'll be very, very successful.
My suggestion to everybody is go grab the book by Jack Stack. I'm not endorsing him. There's no endorsements on this whatsoever. It's called The Great Game of Business. Make a game out of it, right? Make it fun,
Hmm.
but understand, to me, I see doing your passion as a double-edged sword, right? It's your passion, you're about it, you want to do it, but after you do it for a while, that passion kind of wanes down. Now it's a job. So you have to be careful to balance that thin blade on that sword, not to make your passion too deep into a business and now it's mundane and now I got all this to do and damn, I got to go through the P&Ls and the financials today and I'd rather be out, doing whatever.
Well, you can always subcontract that work out, right? When you get to the level of productivity, then definitely I would hire those key people in place for the areas that you're weak in or that you don't enjoy.
I like that. And of course
Hmm.
we can help.
Yeah.
But, formulating your ideal, right? I suggest this. Talk to your friends, talk to your families. You got an ideal, but look for something that is going to make a difference, right? If you want to start a new restaurant, their restaurants are dime a dozen. There's one, 5, 6, 10 on every single street corner. So if you're going to start a restaurant, that's fine. But define that restaurant and make it unique to whatever you're doing instead of the burger stand or the taco stand across the street, right? Because then you're just another restaurant.
Right.
Make it dynamic. Maybe that restaurant is going to have a theme to it, right? There's like Mel's Diners, and they got roller skate people that come out on roller skates and deliver your food and things like that. And then
Yeah.
there's
Now,
like the
yeah.
rainforest, right? Where it's set up like you've
Oh,
gone
I
into
love
the
that place.
rain. I know, me
Yeah.
too. But
So much fun
think about those things. Just opening a restaurant nowadays, and I'm just using a restaurant as an example. It
as
could
an
be a gas
example.
station, it could be a hair salon, it could be a bowling alley. It doesn't matter what it is. Make it
Right. You
unique.
can run with it.
Yes, make it unique.
Let your personality shine through. That's the fun part, the creativity part.
Right. Talk with
Hmm.
your friends, get some ideas, bounce some ideas around and stuff like that. But listen, your friends, one thing to note about friends and family, they like you in a certain little box, right? And when you start to step out of that box, they're going to start rebelling and they're going to start saying, no, that's not a good idea or whatever. Don't let that discourage you or get you down because you're going to get a lot of people saying no, right?
Yeah.
As a business owner, 80% of the time, people are going to say no to you or hold you
Right.
back. Don't let them hold you back.
Don't let them hold you back. Absolutely.
Right.
Some people
So,
like to smash your dreams.
well, they like to keep you in that little box. They're comfortable with you in that box, right?
There
Because
you go.
that's where you go. And to them, if you step out of that box, when they go to that box, you're not there.
It's scary for them, right?
It is.
Yeah. So jot down your ideas, talk to some friends, have some visions going, what you envision your business to look like, write it down on paper, journal, and then what? Do some research online, right? To find
Perfect. So that,
audiences. Who's going to need your product or service?
yes, definitely. Uh,
Analyze your competitors. Maybe take a tidbit or two from different competitors that you like about how they run their businesses and incorporate it into your own, designing your own business plan,
well,
right? So you learn a
market
lot.
research. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the next thing, right? After you've got your idea and you've come up with whatever you're going to do your market research. Go out, look at the competitors, look at the people that are already in the space. If you can, if they're a public company or something like that, you can go in and look at their financials and look at all their reports and stuff like that. Look at them, figure out how they became successful.
Yeah. And also on the flip side of that, when I started the door and window company, my first company that I ever owned and operated with my husband, we actually had him working for a company, a competitor that didn't operate his company very well. So that was motivation in and of itself because we saw the things that he was doing wrong, which really created a drive in us to start our own business and do things differently and serve the public and our clientele on a much higher level. So that was what really instilled our desire to, to start our own business. And, that's where you can shine in ways that other people are doing things that you think you could do better, right? That's where I think people come from when they're, starting a business. It's also good to look at the competitors that are failing, not only
Well,
succeed.
they are not the ones that are just failing, but the successful ones too. And I've advised many times go work for a competitor for 6 months. Look at
Yeah.
the inside, right? Because once you get inside and you start digging in and deep and seeing what's going on, you might not want to do that business. There might be too much on the back end that you didn't get to see. And now you're working for another company that does it and you see, oh man, look at all this stuff I got to do. But
Oh, yeah.
a great idea is go work for a competitor for 6 months or a year or whatever, just so that you can get an inside look into how it works and how it goes on. Plus, there might be some good things in there that you want to copy into your own business.
Exactly. Right?
Right. So after you've done your market research, you got your idea, you've done your market research. The next thing is, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit, write it down, build a business plan. And it doesn't have to be elaborate unless you're going to be looking for investors. If you're going to be looking for other people to invest in you, you need a solid, realistic business plan. And but if not, if you're going to bootstrap this and do it all yourself, then writing your ideas down on a napkin for now will work. Just get it down in writing, right? So that you got something to fall back on and review here and there along the way. And I'm not really suggesting a napkin. I'm just using that as a
Well,
metaphor.
no, that's funny that you mentioned that because one of my mentors in my business, in my industry, actually met with me over many, many lunches. And he inspired me with notes and ideas and business models on napkins at the restaurant. Like we didn't have a pad and paper. We're just meeting over lunch to talk and, break down where each other was at in our businesses. And all of a sudden, these ideas started flowing and he would jot down all the notes on napkins. I still have the
But,
napkins. Okay,
but
cool.
the business plan is important, right?
Well, you want to maybe attract investors, like you mentioned. If you need to have an investor to start your company, then that would be one way to facilitate opening a business. Or perhaps you have some money saved and you could do it on your own. Or, when I entered the industry, I, really didn't take much money. It just took my time and dedication and perseverance. And then the money came and I was able to build the business from there. So just depending on the idea or the industry you're going into, there's different methods or resources that you can use to start it off, right? To kick off your company and
It is,
open doors.
exactly.
Mhm.
However, I will stress that if you're looking for investors or bank loans or anything like that, you better have a legitimate business plan.
Yes,
And if you don't know how to do it, reach out to us. We can help. So,
exactly.
so the next thing now, really, at this point, you've got your idea, you've talked to everybody, you've got your ideal set, you've kind of written it down, you might have a business plan. Now the next thing is name the company, right? Figure out what the name of the company is going to be. And I
That's a
always
tough one.
suggest I always suggest doing this at this point instead at the very, very beginning, right?
Excuse me.
um, because things change, and as you formulate your plan or you formulate your idea, it might skew a little bit.
Might
Let's say,
change.
yeah, you might say XYZ widgets, right? And XYZ widgets is great because your first idea, but as you go through everything, then you notice, I've changed this and I've changed that. And now it's not even widgets anymore. It's, Wambots or something. So,
Right, right. It's kind of like when parents are naming their baby, their unborn child, and they come up with a name. And then the baby's born, and you're like, oh no, and then the baby doesn't fit the name, and we have to come up with something else. It's kind of like that. So just give
yeah,
it some time, ease your way into it, have a couple of names, and see what really feels right or what, you know, as you develop your company, or the idea of your company and the business plan, it may all click, it'll all come together,
so what
basically.
you're saying is you're going to name your child Ronald, and then after he's born, he's got this big round head, so you change it to Charlie Brown.
Something like that. Or or Barry, maybe Barry.
Hey, now wait a minute. I don't have a round head much.
Oh,
Oh, hey, wait, round's a shape, right?
hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're well-rounded, Barry.
So once you name your business, then the next thing you need to do is create your
Decide.
business name, get a fictitious business name, get a
Yep.
business license, and do all those things, right? Fictitious business name, you're going to go to the county, you're going to register it, you're going to have to put it somewhere online for 30 days that you're doing business as XYZ, right?
No, it'd be great is if like we have a 1 to 10 step-by-step process because some people don't know about those legalities that they have to do with the business licenses or a resale tax license, certification, liquor licenses, those are all within your county or city or state. So we could
Right.
put together a list, maybe post it on Facebook or something.
Yeah, we
What do
can put, yeah, definitely so. On the Facebook group, we can put that on there.
Yeah,
As well, you're going to need that fictitious business name and a business license. If you're going to create a bank account, you're going to need that fictitious name in order to open the bank account in
The
that
business
name.
bank account. Exactly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So make sure
And
you
later
do it.
on, you might develop your sole proprietorship into a corporation or an S Corp or C Corp or LLC. So you
Right.
don't have to
Next
decide that right
steps.
out of the, I mean, that could be developed at any time during the operation of your business.
I always suggest create the fictitious business name. As a sole proprietor, you can transition it into a partnership, LLC, a corporation later on down the line. And that's really the next step, right? Deciding what you're going to be. If you're a sole proprietor and you're going to have less than 10 employees, you might be a sole proprietor. The difference
And I
of a
would
sole
go
proprietor
ahead.
is you and the company are one and the same. Your taxes are going to be filed as one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
When
there's
you
different tax implications, as you just brought up. So I would consult with a CPA or somebody that's trained to give you a breakdown of what the differences are and how they impact you and your tax liabilities.
Everybody's different and everybody has different needs on what that might look like, right? Um, and we can put a document out there of what each one is and what a detailed description of.
Description.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
definitely.
you go.
So
Sounds like a
then
great idea.
don't forget now, if you have a particular product and it's unique, you might want to get a patent or a trademark if it's software or written or whatever the case might be. Those take time, right?
Mm.
So, for instance, patents can take up to 5, 6, 7 years to actually obtain a patent.
In other words, like don't quit your day job.
Don't quit your day job. You can go
Quite
with
yet.
patent pending. As soon as you file a patent, you're
Yeah.
patent pending.
Mhm.
However, keep in mind, if you're patent pending and it comes back denied, and there because there's another patent out there, you might owe that other company that has the patent royalties or licensing or whatever the case might be. So just keep that in mind. You might want to have a reserve of money held back in case that happens into some point.
That could be part of your research at the beginning of
It
formulating this
it
idea, right?
it absolutely should be.
You
It
may
should
have to
be.
for that,
Yeah.
or
So the
utilize investors, as we brought up earlier.
right. Next step is, financing your business. How are you going to finance it?
Mm-hmm. Small business loans are available, SBA loans.
SBA loans. There's also crowdfunding. You might want to go to some crowdfunding sites like Indiegogo.com and put your idea out there, and maybe you might get some people to help fund it. And based on of those crowdfunding sites, and you can just Google crowdfunding. The people who invest, they're going to look for something in return, whether it's the product or some shares down the road. Typically not shares, mostly it's going to be product. They're not going to invest a lot of money. That might invest a couple $100 or so, and if you can get 1,000 people doing that, well then it's all the better, right? There's been
Absolutely.
crowdfunding out there that has done millions of dollars, and then there's been crowdfunding out there has done nothing.
Right.
So also bootstrapping, right? Maybe you're going to do this yourself. You're going to pull up your bootstraps. You're going to get out there and you're just going to start doing with the dollars you have in your pocket. You hear stories about that.
Oh yeah, you could turn something into nothing. I mean, from nothing into something. Absolutely. I believe in that 100%.
Yes. So those are all good things to look at. How I just again I'm going to reiterate it. If you're looking for financing from a bank or an investor, you better have a solid business plan in place, and you better have done your market research on who your competition is, what they charge, what's right and good about them, and what's wrong about them.
Yep.
Right.
So,
So
I mean, that brings up my that show that's on TV called Shark Tank.
yeah,
The
Shark Tank.
investors are looking at them saying, "Hey, do you have a business plan? Hey, have you tested the market? Hey, do you have a patent or a trademark or copyright on your idea?" So all of those key factors that we've mentioned are going to be essential if you are looking for outside financing.
Exactly. And I remember several episodes of that where Mr. Wonderful or Mark Cuban or whatever. Somebody's got a patent on something, and
Right,
their eyes light up because, whoa, now we've got something that no one else can do unless they pay us money, right? So they
right.
light up. But I've seen a couple instances where, you know what, I'll buy the patent from you for XYZ dollars. I don't care about your business, and you can continue on doing it, and I'll license it back to you to do it at a minimal fee. But they're really more interested about the patent than they are about
And
business.
that's a good point because you may go into it thinking you're going to start this business, but then somebody may approach you and offer you an X amount of dollars for your idea, and it may turn into just a quick sale or an acquisition by an investor. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen when you start a business. So just be prepared for the roller coaster ride because,
It
like I
always
said,
is a roller coaster ride. In the
one door
44,
leads to another. Yeah.
yes, yes. In the
So it's
40,
exciting.
in the 44 mergers and acquisitions that I did, when we first set out, this is what our scope of work was. This is what we were going to do. This is everything that we were selling. By the time we were done and closing the deal, it was completely different. Just know
Right.
that, right? So sometimes we're selling or acquiring a business, but at the end of it, we're only crying a couple assets of the business or the customer base or the machinery or whatever, right? And not the whole business.
And
So
that
just
sale
be
of that
flexible.
first idea or first company could lead you into another opportunity. So, just keep that in mind that everything's a stepping stone to some greater success. It's all part of the journey, which is exciting.
True. Be
So,
ready to pivot, right? Be
exactly.
flexible, be ready to pivot. And if you're really good, you've already got contingency A, B, and C in place in case you do have to pivot. You know where you're going to pivot to. I've run into a lot of calls where I've gotten where they need to pivot, but they don't know where they need to pivot to because they never really gave it any forethought.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so the next part of it is actually starting, open the doors, building your business, hiring employees, because unless you're going to run this thing 24/7, you're going to need some help, right?
So, where do you go to find those people, Barry? What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of places. First of all, I would suggest if you're a sole proprietor, you're starting out by yourself, I would look at your own circle of friends, acquaintances, and stuff like that. Look at LinkedIn, look at your friends, look at your Facebook, see if
A
there's
lot of
anybody
times
there.
that could create an issue. Doing business and friends sometimes goes south, but yeah. So, you
Well, that's
know,
where I'm saying more about acquaintances than I am actually friends. That's where I was leading to, right?
right.
So it's never good to hire family member unless you're a family-owned business. But there's always going to be controversy. There's always going to be conflict. If
Conflict.
you have brothers and sisters, you already know that there's always conflicts and things between you that will come up in business as well if you hire them. So keep that
Yeah.
in mind. I would
And
look at as you look through that, look at your acquaintances. Another place is on LinkedIn, right? Go to LinkedIn, look for
mhm.
people in a certain particular area, and then reach out to them and say, hey, I'm starting this company and I'm looking for employees. Would you be interested in talking to me about coming to work?
Yeah, there could be a partnership right in your LinkedIn, right?
Right.
Right.
Once you've gotten to a certain point and you can afford, hire a recruiter, a recruiting firm, or go to post your job postings on in LinkedIn or in Indeed or in ZipRecruiter, but those cost money, right? So just be aware of that. But for free and starting out, best place to do is take a look at your acquaintances.
And it does take a team to build a company. So don't think that you can do it all alone yourself. You definitely need to have assistance and support and some, employee. I mean, to get to the next level in each of your businesses, I mean, you cannot do it alone. There's just too much that goes behind running a company, being successful and achieving, a greater level of productivity.
Well, as you said, you can't do it alone. You're starting out, you're going to be the CEO, the CFO, the CTO. You're also going to be the customer
Janitor.
service rep and the janitor, right?
Yeah.
So anything and everything. There's one other place to look at too is colleges and internships and stuff like that, right?
Tips. Yeah. Anthony's
So
doing one with you.
he is. And that's a good place to start if you're looking for. And I don't want to,
Absolutely.
this is different. When you're looking at internships, you are actually teaching somebody, and you've got a curriculum that you're going to have to follow, right, with the colleges and stuff like that. So be mindful of that. So you did that. We actually talked about your market research and everything, but now you need to move into your own marketing, right? How are you going to market your product?
Right. And as part of that process, I mean, you're going to be establishing values, especially if you're hiring employees, you're going to want to train them in a certain culture so that you represent the clientele consistently the same way. And that's basically, what you want to drive from is a mission statement so that everybody stays in alignment with that and you could achieve success together as a team. So with that in mind, that would bring you into the marketing aspect that Barry brought up, because then you're going to want to bring that statement or that value or that vision into your marketing, right?
You
Branding.
do. You do. I suggest that you create your mission statement while you're doing your business plan, so it's in there. But as you're starting to do your marketing, right, branding, as you just mentioned, is a big part of this, right? This is now a good time, maybe even a little prior to this, of creating your website, getting your product on there, so on and so forth, and perhaps you know a lot of companies use websites as a brochure of the company, right? It's an information brochure. This is the company, this is our address, our phone number, this is our product, this is what it does, this is who we are, this is why we did this, and let's do business together.
Right.
um, Starting out again, the cheapest way, if you're a sole proprietor, to advertise a market is, of course, social media, where you can just drop a post in your feed about you or your product, whatever the case might be. However, you're going to outgrow that at some point, and then you're going to need to do the actual advertising and marketing, right? What's that going to be? It's going to be content marketing, search engine optimization. It's going to be Google ads, AdWordSense, Facebook ads, maybe YouTube ads, so on and so forth, right? So there's a lot of bigger things that come to. So now, not only do you have the CEO, the CFO, the COO, the CTO, the janitor hat on, now you got the chief marketing hat on too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much that goes into the back end of it that you don't really realize when you're opening your company. But, if that's not your forte, there are trained professionals out there that can help you, and InvestQuire being one of them. So, I mean, feel free to reach out because it can become overwhelming. But the fun part of it is the branding, is creating your mission statement, is creating your name and logo. And even some people that lack creativity may hire that out too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it depends on time, right? How much time do you have on your hands to do all this stuff?
Right.
So, we're getting close to the end here. This is just the beginning of the business 101 of starting your own business. We'll drill
Yeah, we're
down
going to
in a
break it
lot of
down.
this in
Mhm.
marketing and in sales, and people get confused, right? They put marketing and sales together, which, okay, they can go, but they're actually separate, independent things, right? Marketing is actually product brochures, online information about your product, advertising it too, and then also about client or customer acquisitions, where once you get those clients and acquisitions, then you hand that over to sales. The salesperson goes out and talks to your client or potential clients to turn them into clients. So they go hand in hand, but they are separate entities in a company.
Well, yeah,
And
the marketing is definitely the back end side of it to attract the clientele or the prospect, and the sales is going to be a team of people, hopefully, that will build the relationship and turn it into a transaction.
yep, exactly. Anyway, just recapping, right? So we've gone over a few things here in regards to starting your own business, about basically creating the ideal, putting a business plan together, the legal aspects of it. We're going to drill down into those a lot more over the next few episodes. We'll probably speak heavily on marketing and sales pieces of this, also on the business plan of this, right? Because the business plan, there is a structure to the business plan that is industrial standards that investors and banks are going to look for. And if
There's so
you
many
omit
templates out there.
something, there are templates out there. Don't listen to the templates. Everybody just creates a template, throws it out there. There's very specific guidelines, if you will, on the business plans. You can get templates, sure, but it's just that. It's a template. It's not all encompassing. There are things that are going to be unique about your company. If you follow the template, you might not get those into that template. And that might be the difference between getting an investor or not getting an investor.
Mm-hmm. True.
Right?
Yeah, so we encourage you to listen to the next episodes so that we can drill down a little bit deeper. We just want to give you an overview of what it takes to start a business. And if you already started your own, maybe there is something that you need to reach out to us and you need help with. So feel free to reach out to Lisa and Barry at the Biz Show on Facebook or investquire.com. We look forward to connecting with you again next week.
Yes, guys. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.